Are we good?
Yep. What's up, buddy?
Hey, dude. That took a minute.
Yeah, well, technology, we'll get used to it.
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll get somebody in here that can do it for us.
One day.
What are we drinking tonight?
Because it's Halloween, it's a special day.
God.
I got us some Jim Beam Devil's Cut Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
Oh, my God.
I hate Jim Beam as it is.
Sure.
It's garbage fucking whiskey, but, So just to read the thing here, extra aged in the heart of Kentucky, Jim Beam Devil's Cut Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey is made for those who take their whiskey seriously.
Seriously?
Yep. While bourbon ages and the angel share evaporates, some also remains trapped inside the barrel. This is the Devil's Cut. We extract this dark and intense liquid from our charred white oak barrels, walls, and blend it with extra aged bourbon. So, in other words, it's leftover garbage in the bottom of these goddamn barrels.
Sure.
So this also marks a very special first for us.
Yes, it does.
We are streaming live on the Twitch, the Periscope, and the Facebook. We'll be working on the Instagram at some point.
Right.
Don't look like shit. Let's put this facing here. So cheers, my friend. Quit dicking around.
Cheers. That is not good. That is not good.
It is not good at all.
Oh, my God.
It tastes like Jim Beam got depressed.
Yes, it does.
Oh, my God.
Yes, it does.
That's awful.
Ugh.
All right. Well, it's the Devil's Cut because it's Halloween and shit.
Tastes like the devil's ass.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like you said, we are live tonight.
Yeah. Which is weird.
It is weird.
What the fuck, dude?
I just hit no thanks on something and some shit started playing that I had queued up, which is weird.
You're going, it's first time live and you're fucking all of it up already.
Sure. Yeah. So, anyway, I don't know if anyone is watching or is going to watch.
Nobody's going to fucking watch this shit.
We'll read some comments if they come, and I don't think they will, much like your mom. And
second time you've used that joke tonight.
It is, and it works every time.
Every time.
60% of the time, it works every time. So, anyway, yeah.
How was your week? It feels like it's been a while since we've recorded, and it's just been a week.
Yeah, it's just been a week. It was not a bad week. The week seemed fast, but the days seem long, and that's become a theme lately. That the week, like when Friday comes, I'm like, oh wow, it's Friday. I got here quick, but every day it's like, oh my God, will this day end?
Yeah.
So anyway.
We almost had guests tonight, but it didn't work out.
No, they're teenagers and they have parties to go to.
No, of course.
What did you say?
STDs,
they have what?
They have alcohol to drink and dicks to be railed by.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. One of those you're talking about is my daughter.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So anyway.
And yeah, but next week I'm hoping we have some guests on as well, which will be, in theory, your oldest.
Yep.
And his lady friend and maybe some of their friends.
Yep. And we'll talk relationships.
Yeah. And we have a very special appearance coming up next Saturday.
We are going to be on. So the guest we had 2 weeks ago, Trevor Jackson,
who is a fucking fantastic.
He was great. So he does a podcast with a friend, Troy Smith, and it's called the Two Brothers Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
They broadcast live on Saturdays at 11 Eastern, 10 Central on StreamYard. They do through Facebook, and then Trevor later after that is going to be recording his solo podcast. I hope that falls because you've never taken my advice on how to set that microphone up.
It's not going to fall.
Sure. So his podcast, the Trevor Jackson podcast, he's asked us to be on that as well.
Mm-hmm. We're going to be talking politics and
we may. I don't know what we're going to do because
that's what the message said.
So I was while I was
going to be fun.
So while I was getting ready to run to the store today, I saw that they were broadcasting, so I turned it on, was watching, and I commented a couple of things, and they said, "Hey, call in." So I sat down and I called them, and
that's so bad.
And as soon as we started talking, Troy said, "So you're from Pulaski, Tennessee?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "You know what originated there, right?" And I said, "Yes, I do." In which Trevor cut the conversation at that point and said, "Nope, save this for next week when they're on the show."
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So we'll
because I have very valuable feedback for that type of thing.
Yeah. Yes, you do. So I was told that I get honorary card I get to be the first white member of their Republicrats group.
Yep.
Is what I was told today. So anyway,
which I like that term. I mean, I'm very politically apathetic, but it's for people that do dig the politics and are into it. That's a very apt term for people that can moderately think for themselves.
Sure. Yeah. It's nice to see people that can think for themselves,
right.
and don't just toe whatever party line they have.
It's so crazy to me, the widespread narrow-mindedness under the guise of open-mindedness that just, it's incredible.
Right.
It's still like the conversation I had with that motherfucker on Twitter the other day. Dude's still pissed. I think about it every now and then, and I went back and I got my piece in.
What was the guy's name?
His name is Joel.
Joel.
That's as far as I'm
going.
But he always seemed super cool until I differed with his opinion. Well, I didn't talk or mention though the last time, but prior to that, earlier in the day, we had a quick discussion about the military. Somebody had put some video up of all these people, of these guy going, "Hey, if you could say anything to your recruiter, what would you say?" And everybody was like, "Fuck you," because recruiters are fucking, the devil's taint, man. They suck.
Yeah.
And but it was being used outside of that context to be like, "Oh, look at these military people. They've been lied to and just being used by this government, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, dude, this video is being completely misused for fucking political propaganda. It's like, because what it boils down to is any 18, 19-year-old that jumps in the military that thinks it's going to be one way. And of course, the recruiter's job is to recruit people in. And people say they lie through their teeth, and they kind of do, but it's more of a giant exaggeration of, they make you feel like you're going to be the one doing the cool shit that you want to do.
Right.
And so it was meant to be funny, the way the guy was recording it. But anyway, my whole thing was like, it's being used out of context, it's being politicized, and nobody likes being in the military after they've been in. It's like, I was a vet, I can speak on this. He was like, "Oh, it's just a number and they're just going to go die and be used at our government." So that was the initial discussion that kicked off all the other shit that made him mad. And then when I brought up the voting thing, it was just a whole downhill thing. Which, this is one of my favorite times of year, is election season.
Favorite times of every 4 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, of this year. It's my favorite time of this year. But just because I enjoyed seeing the fucking full-on breakdown of society and relationships that happen visibly on social media.
Sure.
It's a wonderful thing to experience for me.
I got you.
So, yeah. Do you have something you're going to say? Are you getting bored with me already?
It's same old shit, different day.
What do you mean the same old shit, different day? Drink your fucking devil's cut, bastard.
God, that's
so awful. Sean Connery died today.
Yep.
Or did he die yesterday? That's what you had queued up.
Yeah, you beat me to it. I was gonna bring it up.
How are you gonna let this whole thing play out?
I will let every damn bit of it go.
Why?
Because why not? It's actually really cool theme music.
We'll cut it down so we can talk over it, though. That was very loud.
Oh my God.
So, I mean,
yeah, Sean Connery died.
Yeah. I
was a fan of Sean Connery, but I'm never affected when a celebrity dies.
No, not. Of course not.
It's one of those things. It's kind of like, well, that sucks. You never see him in a movie again.
Well, when's the last time he's been retired?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while.
God damn, dude.
It's compensating for you turning it down.
It's like compensating for something.
Fine, I'll turn it off.
God damn it! Thank you. Jesus Christ. But I don't know.
No, I mean,
he's regarded.
Sean Connery, he was great.
I mean, what was his greatest work, other than The Rock, obviously?
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I like League. I don't care what anybody says.
I enjoyed that movie. It's not a great movie.
Oh no,
but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So
that's
no,
fair.
I mean,
where would you rank him on the best Bonds?
Oh, I like him the most.
Really?
I like him the most.
See, I think Daniel Craig eked him out.
Daniel Craig is
the top Bond.
To me, I put them right next to each other.
So,
but
there were some rumors for a while that I never can say his fucking name right. Idris Elba was going to be the next Bond, which would have been fucking outstanding.
I vote Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Donald Glover.
Was even in the running for?
No, but why not be? Well, he was never in the running for Spider-Man, but it was an outcry.
Yeah. Is he going to?
Joel McHale would make a good Bond. I think he's tall, slim.
He would be a terrible.
No, I think he'd be. I think he'd be a good Bond.
Batman.
You think Joel McHale would be a good? No, I don't either. No, I mean think about it. He's tall, slim, good-looking guy, and he's white. So I mean,
all the things you need to be Bond, right?
I mean, so far, yeah.
Well, going by, if you've watched, have you seen the trailer for the new Bond that's coming out?
In a commercial for something else, it was similar.
So I get the vibe based on, if you watch the trailer, they show a female saying that she's a 00 as well. And so I smell the torch being passed on.
They've been talking about that for over a year now.
Right.
That they will have a female Bond.
Right. And so that's the transition.
And I think that the female will be after Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's his last movie. And
yeah. Well, he said the last one was his last movie, but you can't fucking turn down that paycheck.
No. I mean, but it's one of those things. It's like being asked to be in a Star Wars movie. You know, right now it's probably not going to be a great movie, but your name gets etched in that Star Wars legacy.
See, I like the new 3. I really did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about Star Wars at all, so I can sit and watch them and not care about it one bit. Yeah, why do you have a keyboard in front of you?
Because I had it setting up that way. I'm moving to the side right now because I'm going to fuck it up otherwise.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Let me just turn it off.
Yeah.
There. And I can fold it up because it's all pretty. Whatever.
I'm just waiting on you, man.
Here. Dude, you were talking.
So, yeah, I mean, I can watch the new Star Wars stuff, and I'm fine.
Yeah, because you don't give a shit about
Canon. Yeah, I don't.
Your brother hates that shit, though.
Yeah, but
he also drinks bullet bourbon, so.
The new... it's better than this.
Oh, yeah, I'll give you that.
The new Mandalorian season started yesterday.
Yes, it does.
I have not watched any of it yet. I decided I was going to rewatch season 1 first.
Okay.
Did you lose something down there?
It felt like something fell and hit my foot. I was making sure nothing came unplugged. It did not.
Okay. So yeah, the new Mandalorian season started yesterday.
Yep. I haven't watched it yet. I'm excited.
I'm halfway through season 1 again.
Yeah.
So I want to finish that, and then I'll start the new season.
It's fair enough.
Now, I can't remember. Do they do one episode a week on Disney Plus, or do they do it all? Because I prefer when they release one and then a week later release another.
Why?
Because I will binge it in 1 or 2 days.
Okay.
And I don't like that. I don't have the whatever the fucking term is.
Self-control?
Self-control to not binge a show that I really enjoy.
That's so stupid.
Well,
why wouldn't you just enjoy it and binge it?
Because then I have so much longer to wait until the new one comes out, and I don't like that. Like a couple of my favorite Netflix shows, it was such a fight to not binge those, and I was successful. But I don't have anything new coming on right now, so I know I would binge The Mandalorian.
God damn it. What the fuck, dude?
Sean Connery would have been good in The Mandalorian. He'd have been a good replacement for Lando.
See, he's so highly regarded as this, amazing actor, and not saying he wasn't, but how many out of all the movies he did, how many are really that great, like and memorable?
Entrapment.
Yeah.
Con Air.
Con Air is one of my favorite movies.
I was just kidding. Con Air, he was not in Con Air.
Yes, he was.
Sean
not
Connery.
Con Air. I'm sorry.
The Rock.
The Rock.
Yeah. I threw Con Air out there because I had Nicolas Cage as well, just to see if I could reel you in.
Yeah, you did.
No, The Rock. Yeah. The Rock
it's not a good movie.
No. It's a good, bad movie.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Because they're a movie, it's not a terrible movie, but it's a good, bad movie.
No, okay. Yeah, for sure.
Con Air and The Rock.
I love Con Air so much.
I do too. But Con Air and The Rock are two bad movies that are great bad movies that I could watch anytime.
Yeah. Speaking of amazing, terrible, horribleness, did you see what's going to be releasing on the NBC streaming channel soon? Next month?
No.
It's a reboot. I say reboot.
No.
Saved by the Bell.
Oh.
But Mark Paul Gosselaar, Tiffany Amber Thiessen, fucking Mario Lopez, and the Showgirls girl, I never can remember her name.
Yeah, I can't remember her name.
They're all back in it as adults and working at Baseline
Somebody needs
High.
a paycheck.
Yeah. It's it looks so bad. I'm gonna watch it, but it looks so bad.
You tell me how it is.
Speaking of which, have you ever seen it? It was a series via Funny or Die. You can watch them all on Amazon Prime, but they're called Zach Morris's Trash.
No, you told me about it. I never watched it yet.
They're so good.
Are they?
Yeah, they are. They're amazing.
Okay. Maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. So you don't watch.
Sometimes I question while we're friends.
I know. I question it most days.
It's like I was telling you earlier, like I was oddly excited about recording tonight as opposed to usual when I'm just like, Fuck, I gotta go to Joey's tonight.
So you don't watch Saturday Night Live, and I don't really either. But did you watch at least Bill Burr's opening monologue?
Yes, it was
great.
fantastic.
It was great. And he got some shit for it on by the social justice warriors online. He just ignores every bit of that shit, and that's great because then they just get livid over it. But he was good in the sketches.
See, I didn't watch any of the sketches. I just watched the monologue.
He was good in it, which he's not a bad actor though. Yeah. Anyway,
have you watched any of the My Next Guest Needs No Introduction,
yes.
David Letterman?
Some of them, yes.
So I have found that the quality of the interviews on that show vary tremendously between episode to episode.
Sure.
Like the one he did with Barack Obama has so much potential to be good, but it was so heavily edited, you could tell that they cut a lot out. Have you seen the one with Chappelle?
I haven't watched that one yet.
It is so goddamn good. Like so fucking good.
So I've heard that one was good. The one he did with Lewis Hamilton, which is an F1 driver, was good. There's one that has Jerry Seinfeld on it, but it's more of Jerry interviewing Letterman, and that one was good.
I haven't seen that one. See, I know because a lot of them, what I like about the concept of that is getting a celebrity outside of their wall, you know what I mean? And talking, but most of them don't. Like the one with Robert Downey Jr. was plastic and stupid as fuck. The one Zach Galifianakis, he never turns off his Zach Galifianakis, whatever the fuck it is.
He's so funny though.
He's funny, but he never turns it off. So but I don't think he's ever done like a normal interview that I've seen.
No,
anyway.
Between Two Ferns was great though.
Oh,
did you watch the movie?
Awesome. Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, but anyway, but the best one I've seen so far is the one with Chappelle. It's so good.
Is it? Yeah, I'll have to watch it
because Chappelle, he never does interviews, right?
Not often. I mean, he did Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee,
right? But
which was a great episode of that.
But he
as well.
rarely does interviews, especially for media publications. But so the one with him and the one with him in it is they had like a legitimate conversation and it was like meaningful and thoughtful. It was fucking great.
I think that he does things like that with comedians. I think that's his thing because there's a connection there, and he feels. I think that connection, and he will do that. Yeah. I think Letterman would be great in a podcast format because he is a good interviewer. But when you roll the cameras, then you get people being a little more, like you say, plastic and putting up the facade, which is why Joe Rogan's interviews are so good. They're long form, for one. Right. But
you got to wear them down to get past that shit.
You do. I mean, I don't think Rogan goes in with much agenda, except I'm just going to have a conversation with this guy, and it'll go where it goes.
Right.
And I think Letterman would be good at that. I just don't think, because of his age and coming up in TV and things like that, I just don't think podcasts appeal to him.
Yeah. Well, no, he doesn't. Well, at the same time, too, like the thing I love about Letterman is seeing in between, because he's always been just a fucking cock. Like if he didn't like somebody, you could tell he didn't like somebody. Yeah. But as he's gotten older, since he's like fucking 100 now, he's much more thoughtful and
grumpy old man though.
He is, but like he's very thoughtful, and it's not. He doesn't have the television persona from his show, and so it's a much more like thoughtful. His questions are in the conversation, and I want to like every episode, but I only like a handful of them. You know, well, I've gotten to where I really love Letterman though. Like in his
I've loved him for years. He was my favorite late night show.
Right, but old Letterman is way better than young Letterman. Like I love old Letterman.
Yeah. I mean, when he started getting just tired of the bullshit, and he was just like, "We'll do whatever." I mean, but they used to do crazy shit on Letterman, like, let's throw this watermelon off the roof of the building, and let's whatever.
See, Conan has still been my favorite late night host.
He's not my favorite because he didn't. In my opinion, from what I saw, and I didn't watch it religiously every night, he didn't evolve any. It was just the same thing over and over again, it seemed like. And I would like to see a little bit of evolution. Yeah. It's one of the things I don't like about Jimmy Fallon. Right. It's just the same cornball shit all the time.
Yeah, that's true. You know who can eat a fucking dick, though, is Jimmy Kimmel. Like, I hate that guy.
Why? Why do you not like Kimmel?
I don't know.
I don't like everything he does.
I don't like him as a host.
Jesus, that's bad. Yeah. No, I do like Kimmel, but I
also
Kimmel.
think it's his petty like ties he gets into with Trump when he was doing that shit for a while. I was like, fucking who cares? Like, and I get it's ratings, it's whatever else, but like some of that shit, when celebrities get really loudmouthed about whatever stupid opinion they have, it tends to like turn me off on whatever. And I'm not saying like I have no issues with people in celebrity positions expressing their opinions. Sure. Like that's fine. But it's like the ones that get really militant because like, oh, I have this position, so I need to use it to influence This is like when it's a very specifically manipulative type of thing. I can't fucking stand that shit. And I feel like that he does that a lot.
I feel like most celebrities that are outspoken, for the most part, it's all on that same side of the aisle that he's on, which is an interesting thing to me because you think about, you don't hear a lot of outspoken celebrities that are more conservative.
No.
Which
Vince Vaughn was a libertarian. He came out a lot, but he got blackballed.
What else have you seen him in for a while? Not a lot.
Have you seen Cell Block? I think it's Cell Block 99 or whatever the fuck.
I know what you're talking about. It's not that's not what it's called, but I know what you're talking about. I hear it's good, but I haven't watched it.
Fucking good. So fucking good.
I just feel like most of the time, if celebrities never talk at all about politics, I have nothing to base it on.
Right.
But I bet you they lean a little more to the conservative side.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
That's why they keep their mouths shut.
Possibly, but
first off, you're going to lose work,
right? But I think some of them they feel like they need to keep those things separate. And I understand feeling like I have a platform. I think this is the right thing to do, so I'm going to share. Like I get that.
Yeah.
But when you start getting to the point where you're just being a dick to people that don't believe the same, but we're such a polarized society now anyway that if you don't fall under one camp, you automatically are in the extreme of the other camp. Like at least on social media, in the public, whatever, that shit's so fucking, there's no middle. Right. You know, it's either, there's no fucking Republicrats.
That's what I was going to say. That's why I'm a Republicrat.
Right. And see, I'm not at all, but
you're a non-voting Republicrat.
I'm not a Republicrat. I do not like that term for myself.
Okay.
So.
All right. That's what you are, though.
How?
Because you fall right in the middle of them. You just don't vote.
No.
And you don't care as much about the stuff, but that's where you fall.
As far as political leanings?
Yeah.
Okay.
You fall right in the middle.
Maybe.
You just don't want to be affiliated with a party.
Partially.
And I don't really want to be affiliated with a party
I guess, I don't know, because, I don't know, like policy-wise, I don't know. I guess as far as personal opinions on how the world would work better or the country, then yeah, I'll give you that. But as far as my involvement in politics and all that other shit, I think that's why, because I loathe politics so much, any type of lumping in with a label in those politics just pisses me right the fuck off.
Sure.
I don't like it at all.
All right.
But I do think it's funny, though, when people, depending on the genre of music, when people get pissy about certain musicians or certain whatever having opinions on shit, especially with like punk rock bands. It's like, dude, punk rock bands haven't like historically been political. That's where punk rock came from in the UK, where people that were protesting, with the Sex Pistols, about the
God Save the Queen.
Yeah, God Save the Queen, all that shit. And people are just shut up and play music. I'm like, that's fucking what they've always done. But the thing that gets me about celebrities being really vocal in politics, and you have a few that are incredibly intelligent, educated people, for sure. That doesn't mean their opinions are right. That just means they're at least educated where they're coming from. But half of the celebrities out there barely graduated high school. They just went on there, or they had a degree in fucking musical theater. Like they're as stupid as me and you. So their opinions are therefore not valid to me whatsoever.
All right. I mean, yeah, that's fine. I get it. I don't mind them speaking their mind. I
don't want them speaking their mind, but I just think
don't like hearing just the same things.
I guess what I'm saying,
because you're not doing any research on your own.
Well, I find it funny that people put so much stock in what their favorite celebrities say, because their favorite celebrities are possibly less educated than they are. That's what I mean. Like that shit's hilarious to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever.
You're not biting on a lot tonight, man.
No.
Are you bored?
No, I'm not bored. It's hot in here right now. It's a little bit hot in here.
You put on a fucking long sleeve shirt before we started.
I did, because the shirt I had on was like, had holes and shit in it. So.
I realize, though, that yellow is not a flattering color for me on this podcast.
What color is a flattering color for
Blue.
you?
Blue is a flattering color
you think
for me.
So? Okay.
It makes my goddamn eyes pop.
Does it? Except for you have a hat on and you turn sideways and no one can see your eyes. So
but they can see my giant ass hook nose and my fucking
see your Jew
like
nose.
Like I said, I feel like that my nose and chin do like this
a little bit.
Yes, and it's like I'm like gonna chomp on this with my beak.
Yeah.
I don't like. I feel like, and Amanda and I have had this conversation. Of course, she's biased, but like I feel like I'm not a bad looking dude straight on. But as soon as
you have a beak nose straight on too, though.
Depends on the angle.
Like, no, I'm looking at you straight on. I look at you straight on every week.
You're not one that's going to fuck me, is what I'm saying.
I'm like, shut up, bird.
But as soon as you get to here, Like just a little to the side. Then it's like my profile is like a fucking train wreck.
God, somebody should punch him in the fucking face.
Exactly. Well, that and
God.
like it was straight on. You don't notice, but as soon as you get to the side, like basically my chest connects to my chin. It's just like an angled line.
Yeah. Oh God.
But I have started going to the gym this last week.
Nice.
I'm down like 5 pounds, like
Okay.
well 2 weeks now. It doesn't show at all. Like, I'm
Nope.
still at the fat point. Haven't dropped
Right.
anything off, but I've been pretty dedicated. Been getting up at 5, going to the gym.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how many days?
See, I've tried to start off easy because I have a bad habit of jumping in right away and then just fucking hurting myself. So it was, I did Monday, Wednesday last week, and I did week before last. I did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this past week, and so basically I'm just adding a day every week. So I'm going in. So
Good for you.
but canceled the stopped doing that CrossFit bullshit.
Stopped doing something you never really started.
Well, I went for like a few classes and I fucked my back up really bad. But we actually joined the YMCA that's about 5-10 minutes down the road from us. And the crazy thing is about the YMCA, it's $70 a month for a full family membership. Sure. It's so much cheaper than everything else.
Yeah.
And
it still seems expensive.
They got a pool and all that shit. Well, but they got the pool,
you hang
they
out
got
with
the
all the
basketball
boys?
courts and all that stuff. No. There's nobody there at 5. It's cool though going in at because I go in at like 5. They open at 5:30.
No, old people aren't
It's
in there.
all old people,
That's
man.
what I was gonna say.
Dude, they're always like, hey,
Bunch of
man.
saggy ass and balls.
Yeah, all my favorite things. But no, but anyway, but it's great because it's not crowded. I can do all that shit. But
All right.
so, but basically, my point is I'm hoping here in a month or two I look better than you on camera, and then I'll feel better about things. But right now, like even though standing, just your posture is way better sitting here because I lean back.
Really, I feel like I'm hunched over.
Well, you're hunched
Maybe I'm
over,
not.
but the way you're sitting, it pulls your gut back as opposed to I just lay back and let it all fucking.
See,
hang
I've
out
had
there.
many years training of sucking my gut in
Right.
when I'm in public.
We've had lots of years of training and sucking in general.
You're
And,
right.
and I'm not
I
talking
have.
about dicks. I'm just talking about like at life.
Oh, I thought you were talking about dicks. My bad.
Both. Have you? Actually, made me think about something. Like, and I think we touched on this briefly in other episodes, but it's kind of funny. You keep looking at the chat, and I mean, I'm a little disappointed we haven't had more people, but I'm not surprised.
I do look at that, but I also look because I feel like that every time one of us touches the table, that camera just shakes. Like
oh, it absolutely
crazy.
does.
So
Yeah, and we were bad about that because I have that TV on the box, and I do that and look at that shit. That's awesome.
yeah, I know.
But it's like.
I want you to think about anytime any audio thing happens, how you see red.
Yeah.
I'm the same way with
But you're
the
worse
video
about
stuff.
shaking the table than I am because you actually like my arm's on it, but your weight is on it.
Sure, but
Which
I'm
is a
keeping my
lot,
weight still on it.
No
I'm
way.
Barely moving and touching.
You
the
move
table.
it more than I do.
Okay.
Okay.
I may move more than you, but when I come back to the table, I don't go like you do.
Look at that. You just shook the fucking
I
camera
did.
again.
I did. I'm just saying.
I don't hit the camera.
Dude.
It feels like we've been recording for goddamn 2 hours already.
It's because we've been around each other for the last 2 or 3 hours,
That's
which is
true.
more than
Setting this shit
normal.
up.
Yeah, it's more than normal. So
I mean, basically, I've been doing your job, which is trying to set up all the video shit for optimal awesomeness.
well, you're the one that decided you wanted to do this. So
No, I thought you wanted to do this at some point, and I figured out a
some
way
point,
to do
yes.
it, and I thought it'd be fine to go ahead and set
I
it up
just
and do a
want
test
to. I
run.
want to have it all set up at the same time, like the multicam and all that stuff at the same time.
That's fair. Which we can do.
God, that's bad. That's just awful. That's just so bad.
Yeah, so if anybody from Jim Beam ever listens to this, watches this, your whiskey fucking sucks across all levels. There's not a single level that I've ever enjoyed.
James B. Beam.
Like, but the old Jim Beam, the only thing it's good for is shooting. That's about it. Like picklebacks with Jim Beam, fantastic.
You know what?
Jim Beam.
Wonder if a pickleback would be good with this.
Yeah, we'll try it. Let's on break. Get some pickle
Yeah,
juice.
I'll get some pickle juice.
We'll do a pickleback.
Maybe
Because I can
Depends on what
sleep
else
here.
is
I can
going
sleep
on
here if I need to.
All right. I got a room up freshly painted you can sleep in.
That's fine. Hey, you actually sleep with your wife on the weekends, so I could actually.
No, I don't.
Really? You quit doing that
I
now?
haven't done that in months.
I thought on the weekends you
Used to be, but in months I haven't. No, I mentioned my snore is just too much. With all our head stuff going on, it's
You
just
need
too
you
much.
need to get a septoplasty.
Maybe, except it fucked you up. So
It made it a little better, but my nose is fucked up enough that they couldn't quite fix all the things.
I got you.
But if I sleep on my side, I don't snore now. If I sleep on my back, I
That's
do.
the problem. Is I don't have a deviated septum.
You sure?
I sleep with my mouth open, so I go.
Well,
Like
you know,
that.
it's because you're always ready,
That's it.
like a Boy Scout.
I mean, that's it. That's it. That's exactly.
Yeah.
I stopped Boy Scouts right at Weeblos. That's not a joke. That's the last time I was in Boy Scouts was
Same.
Weeblos.
I actually did the same. I did the Weeblos, and then I
I
never
walked in and I said, "What are we called? Weeblos?" Yeah, I'm out.
You know why I quit though? I just did the Weeblos, and before they made us wear the fucking neckerchiefs.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fuck this shit!
Yeah.
I'm not wearing a neckerchief."
You know what? They said something to us about we should wear our stuff to school and we're gonna have it. I'm like, you fucking kidding me?
Well, that's why I quit swim team back in the day when I used to swim, is because they made me wear the fucking Speedos, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I wasn't exactly a muscular
Where
kid
did
anyway.
was it like a homeschool thing?
No,
The swim team?
Lincoln County when I was in like grade school and shit.
Huh? We didn't have swim team.
Yeah, like up like fourth
Pulaski.
and sixth. I was decent actually at it. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't amazing, but yeah.
All
Swim my ass off. Not anymore. Now if I fucking swim
beach
50
whale.
feet, I'm gonna But the sad thing is, even as fat as I've gotten, I have never been able to, nor can I now float on my back.
Really?
I sink
Why?
like a goddamn I don't know. But my like feet down, I just sink. I can't.
Huh?
Never have been able
Even
to.
if you hold your air in, you don't float.
No.
You don't like. None of you floats.
Well, my upper half, my chest and shit.
Yeah, but
wherever
your
they
feet
lands.
will go.
Yeah,
I got you.
every time
you
I
just have
can't.
to use your muscles and hold your feet up.
It doesn't work.
All right.
I'm telling you, I
You
have
got strength in your
unable-
core.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Nothing to do with the strength of my core.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Like my legs don't float. I have to hold them up.
I just have very dense bones.
My wife can't sink.
really,
You know how if you let all your air out, you can sink to the bottom? Nah. Doesn't. She can't sink.
that's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
'Cause I've watched her fight to get to the bottom of the pool, and she can't do it.
Huh.
Like it's the craziest looking thing ever.
That's hilarious.
Like to the point that I've held her down, and then
I'm being
after
I'm sorry you instructed me to be quiet.
after I came, I said, "Let all your breath out." No, and I was like, "I'm gonna hold you under the water. You let all of your breath out, and I'll let you go, and you should sink." And I held her down. She let all of her breath out. I let go, and you whoop, right to the top. I don't understand.
She probably needs to strengthen her core.
Probably, but it could be. I don't know. I don't know what it could be.
Yeah.
I don't have no clue.
You don't have no clue.
No, I don't have a. I can't talk. I know that's what it sounded like, but anyway.
That's exactly what you said.
Okay.
I don't got no clue.
First of all, I didn't say I don't got.
That's because you're from Pulaski.
Yeah, Pulaski.
Yeah.
Whatever. Regardless,
Oh, did I tell you my mom got COVID, and so did my sister and my nephew.
you did tell me that. Yes,
Yeah.
last week.
They're all over it now.
Are they? So you remember me telling you about my grandmother? They found had lung cancer.
Yeah.
COVID too.
Oh, nice.
Just found out yesterday. COVID too.
COVID
It's
too.
like God hates her or
Yeah,
something. I don't know
evidently.
what it is.
Or she's just really fucking old.
Well, she is. I mean, she's in her 80s.
So let me ask you a question. Do you
Yep.
find it tragic or sad when someone over 80 dies?
Depends on how they die.
Okay.
Gunshot, yeah, it's tragic and sad.
They've had
Better
80
them
years.
than a kid, but I mean,
Yeah.
No. I mean, no. I mean, I think I find it a little sad. I find it a little sad if
they die from any type of sickness or illness.
Yeah, it depends on if they died, if they're going through lots of pain, or if it was more. If they're going through lots of pain, that's sad that they had to go through all
Okay,
that,
but
that
that's
pain or
sad
whatever.
is different than tragic.
You said sad or tragic.
No, I said tragic.
All right, go back and listen to it.
I probably did. I meant tragic.
Okay, then no,
No, okay.
I don't. I don't find it tragic.
Would you find it tragic if an 80-year-old got shot in the face by getting mugged? Is that a tragedy?
Yeah, but not as bad as if a young person with a lot of life left.
Okay.
It's tragic. I mean, somebody gets shot in the face and dies. That's tragic. No matter
What
who
if
it
they
is,
did it to
unless
themselves?
that's a different story. That's a different story. It's tragic for whoever has to clean it up.
Okay, well here yeah, right. So here's a question then. And I think we agree on this, but I'm curious.
Yep.
Do you find it tragic when someone commits suicide?
Depends.
Okay.
Were they an asshole? No. I think when there's an argument to be said that there's always mental illness involved if there's a suicide, but
That's
I don't
not true.
think that I don't think that there is. But you know, if you find out someone had terminal cancer and they killed themselves because they didn't want their family to deal with it, I don't find that tragic.
Okay.
But if there's mental illness involved, it's tragic that we haven't gotten to a point where they can be helped.
I'm talking about is the death of a person that kills themselves tragic.
I think it depends. It's a case-by-case basis.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's not tragic enough that I'm going to be upset over it.
Right.
I mean, that's,
I was just curious. Because to me, tragic is when a tragedy happens. And to me, a tragedy is something that's outside of your control.
Yeah.
Like a 4-year-old getting hit by a fucking car and dying. Shit's tragic. Right? Okay. Somebody getting killed because somebody tries to mug him, they get shot. Tragic. Mm-hmm. A self-inflicted thing, and I'm not saying it's bad or it's good. I'm not judging the action itself, but not tragic, regardless of the reason, in my opinion. Same thing would be, but really any time that somebody's life is ended by something outside of their control, I've again, the definition of tragedy, something that's befalling you that's bad. And maybe I'm missing the actual definition of tragedy.
I don't know what the definition is.
I'm going to look it up.
You want me to do it while you talk?
No, you talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think, but even that is, tragic can be a personal opinion. I mean, I think you could say, well, if there's a mental illness and this person killed themselves, I mean, that's tragic that we didn't get them help because that was definitely within our control. But it's still tragic.
An event causing great suffering, destruction, or distress, such as a serious accident, crime, or natural catastrophe.
There you go.
So again, to me, that's an outside of event.
But it doesn't say outside.
It doesn't say outside of it.
Yeah.
Well, an event causing. Yeah,
yes.
Great suffering.
So I think to me that's a case-by-case basis.
That's fair.
Who's it causing the suffering to? I mean, the things that will cause any suffering to you and I are not the same.
But I guess though, then to me,
human,
and maybe this is a way that we look at it differently. Is to me that's a tragedy for the family, but not the actual.
Not the actual person.
Right.
Yeah. No.
And in those instances, I'm talking in a self. Which, by the way, did you see the post Ricky Gervais made today on Twitter with the clown face? Dude, I'm going to show this. I'm going to pull this up and show it to you. It's for me as a mostly emotionless asshole. I found it to be a pretty emotive photograph. It was one that actually, it got a it made my tummy feel something in my brain. To me, I thought it was a brilliant fucking post. Let me fucking find it here. And people were just fucking livid about the shit. They really were, which I found hilarious because people are sensitive and don't like anything happening outside of that. But there you go. Right. It's funny, but it's a fairly powerful photo if you look at it. Maybe you don't agree.
No, I mean, yeah. I guess at first glance, though, it's
hilarious at first glance. But if you actually take the photo in a little bit, it's a weirdly meaningful photo. Yeah. I like it. I thought it was really cool. But people on the comment section were losing their fucking shit about it. And
that's great.
Of course, Ricky Gervais doesn't give a fuck. But
no, that's great.
Yeah, at first glance, it's hilarious. That's what I did. But then I started looking at it, and I was like, ooh, that could be, that's some artistic.
That man's a national treasure.
That's some artistic shit right there. And I think that's more of why I appreciate it. To me, at first glance, it's whatever. But if you actually look at it and take it in, it's a very artistic photograph. It captures a lot of things in one photo.
And yeah.
But I do think it's funny that people get offended over somebody else's things. I don't know. I don't understand it. I'm mad because you said something I don't agree with, and you're a celebrity, and you should represent all of my favorite opinions.
Well, I mean, it's like Jim Jeffers said, you're not mad because I said it. You're mad because people thought it was funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever.
Well, people have such a visceral reaction. I mean, they always have to certain things.
Right.
But it feels like in the spot that we're in today is you have a lot more knee-jerk reactions to things that probably don't, that don't affect you directly. It's that whole, we've talked about being offended on behalf of someone else, or some of the comments on there was I knew somebody that committed suicide. This isn't funny. I'm well, just because you know somebody that commits suicide does not mean that a joke about suicide can't be funny.
Right.
You might not find it funny because of your experience. Fair.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that you
don't get to dictate whether everyone else thinks it's funny.
Your personal experiences should not be able to dictate someone else's behavior.
It's like being offended for someone else. You don't get to decide that this is offensive to me.
Yep. So. And that's where I was going with that is like, it's really gotten to a point that they feel like their personal experiences should dictate other people's behaviors.
Yeah.
And that to me is a ridiculous concept.
Sure. I agree. I mean,
and that's not just a liberal thing. That's in people in general now.
When's the last time you saw something, whether it was a photo, a tweet, anything, and you're like, ooh,
I don't think I have.
That's a little much. Yeah, I don't think so either. I have seen things and thought, ooh, you're going to get some shit over that.
Yeah, for sure.
But not bother me.
Right. Absolutely. Well, that's the thing is like, if I know somebody personally and they do some shit, some things every now and then I've been like, it's probably not the best idea. Yeah. But, but as long as it doesn't represent me, then I'm like, you fucking do what you want, dude.
Right.
We've had a couple back and forths on a few different things on social media that's going up just because of differences of opinion. But that was more because I can
only think of one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can only think of one.
Okay. But either way,
sure.
But to me, that's just because it's reflecting on, I don't even like the word reflecting, but whatever. Being out there. It
looks like you condone it?
Maybe. I really can't quantify exactly why, but it's something about it like, not that I'm worried about offending people so much as okay, here's the way to put it. Personally, I'm not afraid of offending somebody, but because I legitimately love this podcast and I want it to do well, like there's a fine line to walk, right? Between being able to say what the fuck we want and then potentially like getting banned from a media thing or coming back. Like the thing I try to think of is like things that we've said out of context could fuck us both up as far as work goes,
Probably.
whatever. But if somebody found out about the podcast in general, most of the time, as long as it wasn't out of context, we'd probably be okay.
Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe.
But I try to think of certain things that if we posted, if my boss came across it, am I going to get fired over it? Because they don't understand anything else surrounding it. That's more of, I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I got that.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, I know. But you and I have a difference of opinion on where that line is sometimes, I think.
No, I don't think, I think we have pretty much the same opinion, but I think sometimes I go, I don't care. And That's fair. Just has to catch me at the right time for me to feel like that.
That's fair.
So there's something I was going to show you. Speaking of getting fired, it'll take me a second to find
I don't know if anybody's watching, but if not, that's for not commenting. Or even if so, I wonder, I didn't even think to look as far as if there's any type of restriction on these streaming platforms about us having alcohol or excessive profanity. I would think not, but
I don't think, surely, I mean,
who the
you
fuck
think
knows?
Twitch, there's a bunch of kids broadcasting games, and they're constantly talking about fucking each other's moms.
And dropping N-bombs.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, did I tell you, my son, my oldest Eli, was starting a podcast with his friends.
He is.
And he asked me about what would be acceptable for him content-wise.
Okay.
And my answer was, well, your mom's going to listen to it. So you base your decisions on content based on that.
Right. And what did he say?
He was like, okay. And so he sent me some. He went through and edited a lot of this shit out. And I was
he's already recorded something with his friends.
He's done an episode, yeah.
How? If they didn't come to your house, what did they do?
Zoom, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, let's do it. And it was fucking awful because nobody was prepared. It was kind of like what we do, except not as charming.
As charming.
And there's 5 of them. Well, they're all gamers, and all they do is use their gamer handles. And so he felt like that gave him some more liberty to say certain things. And I'm like, no, because people can find out. Like, you piss off the wrong gamer and somebody swats our house, I'm going to murder you.
Right.
But outside of that, and they're young dudes. They're in their, they're all teenagers and shit. And there's some language, but he's 17. I don't think he doesn't cuss, whatever. But and he edited some of the shit out. But he and his buddies were calling each other fags a whole bunch. And I'm like, you can't, dude. You can't do that. Like, I get you're all 17-year-old dudes. I was like, but in the today's climate, you put that shit out there, it's out there forever.
Yeah.
And I was like, you have a future employer. And especially in today's social climate, you have an employer that searches you on social media, somehow pops up that you have a podcast and listen to that, and you're calling people fags and you're doing all this shit. It's like, you're screwed. Like, you will not be able to get a job. Like, as a normal human being, depending on the job, there's the potential for that is there.
Yeah.
It's like, it's even you and I, we'll make jokes and whatever, but there are certain words that we will not use in a derogatory sense because of the implications that could have for either one of us if this happened to, somebody we know, listen to it. I shouldn't say somebody I know, somebody that's potentially going to employ us. Like, we say some offensive shit, but nothing that's that we know for a fact would get it. Like, if I got fired over some of the shit I said on here, I'd be like, okay, that's fair. Which part got me fired? As opposed to saying shit all the time, like, fuck, I'm done if somebody hears this shit.
Oh, God.
Do you know what I mean, though?
No,
Does that make sense? Yeah.
So, speaking of someone getting fired, as you know, me and my wife, my daughter, watch the reality show Below Deck. As real as it is, whatever. I don't care. It's entertainment.
Right.
So there was a guy about 4 or 5 or 6 episodes in the crew. All of a sudden, you just didn't see him anymore except in the background. So he was still there.
Right.
Like, they cut him out of
everything. Took the mic off, right?
Well, it's not that they took the mic off. They just edited him out of as much footage as possible. And then in the reunion show where they all get back together and talk, he's not on there. Because they fired him in June, which the season had already been filmed, but they went back and like post-date fired him or pre-date fired him and started cutting him out of shit because he posted something on social media that was called offensive and racist.
Okay.
Now, I looked it up to see what it was, and I want to see what your reaction is when you see it to see if it was the same reaction I had. It's a little blurry because it's a bad screen capture, but maybe you can read that.
Okay. Let's see. You talk while I'm reading this so we don't have just some dead air.
Talk. Nah, I really want to get your reaction from this. So, what do you think? Fucking funny, isn't it?
It is funny.
But he lost his job. He lost, yeah.
But again, we've had this conversation,
Sure.
and this is how we look at things differently sometimes. It's like, I fully understand why he got fired and dropped from that.
Sure.
Because in those positions, when you're in the spotlight, you have to be aware of the social climate. You have to be. Whether you agree with it or not, or you choose to say, fuck it, I don't care or not. But then if you do, you have to accept the repercussions that come along with that. It's right, wrong.
Yeah, he apologized afterward, of course, but
right.
Regardless, if you want to know what he posted, it's Below Deck Med, and his name is Pete. Just Google what did Pete from Below Deck post. It'll probably auto finish it for you, but
it comes back like we have had this.
Funny.
It is funny. We've had this conversation before though, that right or wrong, however you look at it, as stupid as you might think it is, today's social media climate is how it is. Yeah. And if you're going to be in any type of entertainment industry in front of people, you have to be aware of that. Now, if you're like Ricky Gervais and you have more money than God, you say what the fuck you want. It doesn't matter. But I understand why certain people apologize for their shit at certain levels of their game because they want to have a career. Now, I do feel like, though, if certain comedians that got quote-unquote canceled, like double down on their shit, I feel like people like Ricky Gervais or like Bill Burr might come and get in their corner.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But they'd have to fucking nut up and just say, yep, I said that shit. Fuck you. You know, because even like Anthony Jeselnik, he'll spit some bullshit. Now, he's pretty big now.
Sure.
But he's always said that shit. Like, always.
Always, yeah.
You know, and he's never given a fuck. But, anyway.
Shark Party.
Still one of my favorite bits is his murder-suicide bit.
Yeah.
It's one of
the
one
narcolepsy
of
bit's pretty good. It's as short as it is, like as quick one-liners it is. It's good.
It is.
Yeah.
Which we have talked about doing some stand-up comedy at some point. Not together.
No.
I mean together,
no,
but not as a duo.
You don't want to do a duo?
Dude, we could do a duo. It would be so bad. Say,
son, I said to my wife the other day.
So you do your bit while I'm sucking your dick. That's our duo.
I think that could be funny.
It's never been.
We could make that funny.
It's never been done.
You're right. It has never been done. I think.
It may have been done, but never. You know.
I think it could be funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Just do your bit while I'm sucking your cock.
What if we got on stage and I turn my back to the crowd and do a bit, and you get down and act like you are, and that's you say, yeah, no, we're a comedy duo.
This is what comedy duos do.
This makes me funnier. No.
So,
oh God.
One thing you don't see much of, like in the limelight, other than like Bo Burnham,
Minorities.
You don't see many musical comedians anymore.
But even Bo Burnham got a little weird with that last special he did.
I love Bo Burnham. I'm not going to look it up.
Yeah, but it was a little weird.
Right. But I can say anytime I've been to a stand-up comedy open mic or been to an open mic where a stand-up comic that pulled out any type of instrument, I've automatically always been like, oh, fuck.
Next time you see that, you need to yell out, "You're not Bo Burnham!"
Right? Well, to me, it's almost like in my brain, and I wonder how you feel about this, because this is something we've never talked about, is I almost feel like musical comedy, like as a performance, like a comedy open mic or whatever, right? I feel like it's a cop-out for actually being funny. Because you're hiding behind the guitar and you can write the songs, you can write funny stuff, but you're not having to have that tension of and I'm talking about as a stand-up comics perspective. Because musical comedy to me is different. I guess I separate them in my brain. I don't consider people that do strictly musical comedy stand-up comics.
So you feel like Garfunkel and Oates are hiding behind that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like if they did, I feel like they're a musical comedy act, but I do not classify them in the same category as stand-up comedians.
Sure, I got you. Yeah, I mean, it's different than stand-up. I like it when you see a person that does stand-up pull an instrument out and do a funny song.
When Bob Saget does that shit, it makes me fucking angry.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm fine with him doing it. I don't prefer it at all, but I'm fine with it. If the song makes me laugh, I'm fine. Okay. I'm okay with it.
Right.
Wheeler Walker Jr.
But he's not doing stand-up. He's going out and playing shows. Not.
But if he was doing stand-up, because the guy who's playing the character, Wheeler Walker Jr.,
comedian,
is a funny fucking guy.
Yeah.
And so if he did stand-up and then he pulled a guitar
let me point out that I'm not touching the fucking thing and this thing's shaking like a bitch because you keep doing that shit.
I just decided I was all in.
So we need to put that off the table next time is what it boils down to.
Sure.
Anyway, continue.
Anyway.
Yeah.
If he was doing stand-up and he pulled a guitar out and sang a Wheeler Walker Jr. song, I'd be perfectly fine with it.
Yeah.
So.
But that's different.
No, if a stand-up comedian pulls an instrument out.
No. In that specific instance, it's different because even though he's a stand-up comedian, he's also established himself as a comedian.
I mean, if he hadn't established himself, if he pulled a guitar out and started singing a Wheeler Walker song that had not been released as a Wheeler Walker song, I would laugh. Okay,
let me rephrase.
I agree that it's not the same thing, but I'm fine if a comedian does
let me change. I shouldn't say change. Let me reword what I was saying.
Backpedal.
I'll backpedal. And that's if it's accenting what they're doing, sure. Because if
who decides if it's accenting or not?
Because if their primary avenue is the stand-up comedy, right? And they occasionally pull out a guitar, like for one part, and it accents what they're doing, sure. But for people that strictly they come on as stand-up comedians and all they do is play an instrument and sing stupid songs, not a stand-up comedian.
Now, what about what Zach Galifianakis used to do with the piano? No, I'm asking. I'm not trying to throw a wrench in your theory.
So to me, though, but for that was part of an act, like an overall. It wasn't him
because he didn't sing funny songs. He just talked and played.
Right.
That was the.
But again,
this guy saying this stupid, crazy stuff, but he's a fucking phenomenal piano player.
But again, going back to say Garfunkel and Oates, take them for example. I went and saw. I've seen them play, right, and it was a great show. Mm-hmm. But again, I would consider that to be a musical comedy show, not a stand-up comedy, because they don't brand themselves as stand-up comics.
Sure,
right. But I guess what I'm saying is people that brand themselves as stand-up comics, but mostly rely on funny songs. I guess I just look at it as if you're. You've got me in a bind here because I'm not quite exactly sure how to word what I'm thinking.
I didn't mean to do that.
No, I know, but you're good. You're good at that, and so I'm going to give you credit where credit's due.
Okay.
But again, like say Bob Saget, right? Mm-hmm. I think he's funny as shit as a stand-up comedian.
Sometimes.
can be.
Yeah.
Right. Depending
when
on the
he's
bit.
funny, he's fucking funny.
Exactly. But about half of his show, I don't know if you've seen his last special, was a lot of him singing songs on a guitar, and none of which were that funny. But had he done all of one or all of the other, probably been okay. But I felt like a lack of, that's what I've been trying to say, is I feel like a lot of comedians that pull out an instrument is because they're lacking enough material on their own
You think so?
to pull a full show out. Yeah.
See, I wonder if, and I think that a lot of musical comedy acts at the beginning,
Which there aren't many
stand
for
up.
a reason.
Right. I think at the beginning they did stand up.
Right.
I may be wrong.
Because, see, like, here's my thing, and I guess maybe this is how I look at it, is I write songs occasionally, and not so much anymore. But I feel like I could sit down and write a comedy set of songs, right?
Sure.
And I feel like they would be decently funny, but I wouldn't be able to call myself a stand-up comedian by going to an open mic and playing that shit at a stand-up comedy open mic.
Okay.
I don't know. That's, I guess.
Have you ever been to a music open mic and saw somebody pull out an instrument and do
Yes.
Musical comedy?
Yes.
How did it go over?
Well.
Okay. I mean, it went over well with the crowd or went over well with you?
Both.
Okay. Well, that's
But I've seen that same person pull that instrument out at a comedy open mic, and it fucking was awful because it was a very different vibe than what was going on. And I guess that's the distinction in my brain.
Sure. Okay. I got you.
And granted, I'm not articulating this well at all, as per usual. And you recognize that, and that's why you're an asshole. And you
No,
keep
I'm
pressing
not
into
being an asshole. I'm really trying to get to the...
you inherently are an asshole.
Well, okay. I'll give you that. I'll give you that much. No, anyway, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
God, there was something else I was fixing to say in the middle of that, and then you just kept talking. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I don't prefer it. I've never been a Rodney Carrington fan.
And maybe what it boils
anything
down
like
to is I just don't like most musical comedy. That's maybe what it boils down to.
Maybe so.
And I guess I don't feel like it's as true of an art as stand-up
When
comedy.
Dimitri Martin does a couple of the musical things,
I don't like Dimitri Martin.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
So maybe that's what it boils down to.
I do in small doses. I'll put it that way.
Maybe that's what it boils down to is I don't consider musical comedy as artful as pure stand-up comedy. Because I feel like, and maybe that's even the case with Bo Burnham. Like, his songs are funny. He's a funny dude. But I feel like the people that rely on musical comedy can't hold their own as a true stand-up comic.
So, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think it takes a certain amount of balls and panache and personality to be able to hold an audience with no instruments, with nothing but the shit coming out of your mouth. And I feel like that's a talent. And I feel like when you start pulling out instruments and singing funny songs, not discounting how funny they can be, it's not true stand-up comedy.
Sure. So let's take a break. I got something to tag on to this conversation, but we may go into a long, extended conversation with that.
Okay.
But we'll take a break and come back. I've made myself a little note to ask you about it.
Yep. So we're going to stop this stream for now.
Yeah.
And then we're going to restart it here shortly.
Yep.
All right.
We'll be back.
Hey, everybody. We'd like to take a minute to tell you about a really cool podcasting app called Stitcher Premium.
Yeah, Stitcher Premium is, like you said, a free app, and they've got everything you could look for: true crime, comedy, pop culture, The Office ladies. I think Conan O'Brien's podcast is on there. There's lots of things on there.
And archives of all those things.
Oh, yeah. And smart lists.
Yeah, the smart lists. That's what I was about to say, you fuck. Smart lists basically will watch what you're listening to, or I say listen to what you're listening to, use some fancy algorithms, and make recommendations on shit that you already like.
Yeah, so if you go to Stitcher.com/premium and use the code B3F, you can get a month free. So it's $4.99 a month or $34.99 if you pay for a full year. But use the code B3F and you'll get a free month.
Check it out. Did you want to have your phone out and ready to change the name on that bitch before?
Well, I mean, I have to wait for it to pop up in the...
Right, but you can at least have it open and ready.
Well, that's what I did last time. You're like, be patient.
Whatever, dude. I'm just going to go ahead and sit here and we'll be here awkwardly while you're doing that.
It's not awkward for me.
It's not awkward for me either. So you said you had something you wanted to talk about when we came back from break.
Yeah, so we're talking about
there you go. A little bit more of the devil's cut.
right. So, we were talking about stand up and how you think that musical comedy acts, you don't consider them stand up or whatever. So,
Right.
Which is perfectly fine with me if that's how you feel. I can't make you be right. No. So anyway,
Let me hold on before you go there. So if say we went to we've talked about going to a local stand up open mic. If I went and we were going and I just brought up my guitar and played funny songs, how would you feel about
I'd
that?
be perfectly fine with
Really?
it. If you make me laugh, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I agree with you that I don't consider it stand up comedy.
Right.
But if I'm going to a comedy open mic, I'm not so purist that I got to see stand-up comedy.
Right, and I agree with that. I'm just saying that people that classify themselves as stand-up comedians and mostly what they do is musical comedy, I feel like that they are mislabeling themselves.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
You're gonna add some more.
I'm fine with you feeling that way.
I'm feeling my feelings are important. God damn it. Yeah, nah, it's fine.
So anyway,
this is goddamned awful.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Jim Beam. I always want to say Jim Bean.
Yeah.
Not Beam.
That's very redneck of you.
I know, right? Give me somebody Jim Bean, man.
My God. Somebody said something super redneck the other day at work, and I can't remember who it was or what it was they said. But anyway, so stand-up comedians.
Sit up straight and stick my tits out.
Because there used to be a lot of strange, like people would do strange things on stage. Like Bobcat Goldthwait did one time where he took a fish and was just talking to the crowd and just, gutting and filleting a fish on stage. And this comedy buddies thought it was hilarious that he was doing that. It's a little odd, but I've been watching that docuseries about the Comedy Store.
Uh-huh.
If you like documentaries and you like docuseries, you should watch it. If you like comedy, if you don't care anything about comedy, fine. But I like hearing comedians.
I'm still mad about our documentary conversation. And you just trolling the shit out of me and me just going right goddamn long with it. I thought about that the other day and I was like, that fucking asshole.
Oh God.
Anyways,
I like when two comedians sit down and just have conversation.
Right.
I enjoy hearing those conversations. So, but they're talking about Richard Pryor. And I don't know how you feel about Richard Pryor as far as, he's one of the greats.
Absolutely.
In my opinion, he's way up there. If he's not the greatest, then he's damn close.
Well, if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have Chappelle. You wouldn't have had Eddie Murphy. You wouldn't have had these countless amazing
You think so?
black comedians. Absolutely.
Okay, well, he
was one of the first black comedians to have that much success in the mainstream.
Sure.
So.
God, that's still bad.
It is.
Oh. So, Howie Mandel told this story of Pryor coming on stage, and he said he came on stage as God. Mm-hmm. He comes out on stage and she goes, "Hey, I'm looking for my son, Jesus. Have you seen Jesus? Have you seen my son? I'm here to pick him up. Where's my son? What happened? You did what to my son? Oh my God!" And he said he just, like scream and holler and crying like whatever. Right. And he goes, "All right, fine. I'm looking for Kennedy. I'm looking for," and he just named off all these people that were people that brought people together.
Uh-huh.
John Lennon, whatever. And he went through all of this whole thing of what happened? You did what to, and then he said by that point, like people in the audience were crying, like there were people crying.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just stopped and he pointed at everyone in the crowd and he goes, "You're on your own," and then walked off stage.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And Hammondale's like, it was not, it's like, it's not, you don't expect that from a comedian. He said,
no,
but that shit was phenomenal. So it was just insane. How do you feel about things like that? Because you think, it makes me think of Chappelle's 849 or whatever that he did, the George Floyd thing. I laughed my ass off in some points of it, but it was not.
Yeah,
maybe it was meant to be stand up. I don't know.
No, I don't think it was meant to be stand up.
Regardless, how do you feel about that kind of stuff?
See, I don't mind it because to me, and this is where I'm going to sound like a hypocrite in this regard, but like stand-up comedians are still artists, right?
Yeah.
And to me, that's almost a performance art piece when they're coming up and doing something like that. Now, I don't think Chappelle's was. I think it was just him recognizing that
something needed to be said.
Whether it's recognizing or just deciding that he wanted to say something.
Sure.
But it was, with Chappelle, he can't help. That's just, it was funny, parts of it. But it was just like him responding to whatever happened. Something like Richard Pryor doing, and he might have been responding to world events or however he felt. But at the same time, it's an art piece. I mean, that's essentially what that is. It causes emotion and it causes a reaction.
And I don't think Pryor had ever done that before and never did it again afterwards.
Right.
It was an interesting.
And I think that's
wasn't
great.
On TV
Right.
or anything. It was just whatever.
Right.
I just want to kind of wonder what your thoughts are on that.
No, I think it's awesome. Actually,
I think part of a comedian's job is to make you think about things.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, so.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind
Anyway.
of it can go either way. Yeah, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, kind of like Andy Kaufman, right?
Yeah.
A lot of his stand-up bits weren't necessarily funny. It's funny because of how much he
It's
fucked
everyone's
with
reaction
people.
to it, and
Right,
him
is what's
fucking with
funny.
people is funny.
Right.
Yeah. There's some really good
Okay.
stories out there about Andy Kaufman that are very funny.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
I thought of a better way to put the musical comedy thing. Like I've been processing
You're
this.
still on that.
No, I am. Well, it's because I don't feel like I've articulated my point well enough. I think I look at them as two different genres, I guess, and occasionally pulling out something to accent what you're doing, cool, right? But I feel like for a musical comedian to call themselves a stand-up comedian, it's not even the same ballpark, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a rawness and a vulnerability that comes with just being you and your goddamn
It's you and a microphone.
you and a microphone, right? And to me, when you pull out an instrument and do some of that shit, unless that's what you do, it detracts from that art.
Okay.
And that's where I don't like it as much, if that makes sense. Like musical comedy can be funny as shit. Like I think Garfunkel notes are hilarious. I think that Rodney Carrington, I'm not a huge fan of his, but he's got some funny shit that he's done. But for one of those people to call themselves a comic, I don't like it.
Now, what if they also do some stand-up without the instrument?
It's still two separate things.
I'm talking about what if in the middle of their musical performances they stop
different as an accent to add on to, but if that's the primary vehicle in which they're delivering their comedy, it's not stand-up comedy.
Do you feel like they're less than stand-up?
Yes. I absolutely do.
Why?
Because it's kind of like, I would say, people that play, like for me, me playing an instrument and performing in front of somebody, right? I think that's, it's a degree of artisticness, but
that's better than slam poetry.
Oh fuck! Anything is better than slam poetry. No, but what I mean though is you get somebody that can come out like a Dolly Parton or a Whitney Houston that can sing a cappella with nothing else behind him. That shit's on another level than anybody with an instrument.
Did you? And I know you probably haven't, but have you seen the clip of her a cappella through Zoom with Stephen Colbert the other night?
Yeah,
yeah. It was. I mean, she still got it.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't the best I've ever seen her.
No, but it's amazing. But I guess
moved him to tears.
But what I'm saying is the ability to do that without any type of mask, without any type of padding, is far superior than anything. Anybody with a band or a guitar in front of them. Because to me, having a guitar in front of you, it's almost a barrier, right? Where you can express yourself through it, but you have something to cover up your flaws, something to mask a little bit of shit behind. Whereas if you're just a stand-up comedian with nothing else there, or a vocalist that'll come out and can do one song just with no backing band, no other tracks behind you, like that shit is way more raw and way more worthy of praise than anything else beside of it.
Yeah. But when you said without a backing band or whatever, then I started thinking like, but when it comes to like hip hop, I have way more respect for when Jay-Z goes out and has a band play his songs and raps with that. To me, that's a more difficult thing than just rapping to a track.
It is. It absolutely is.
But yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying that to be anti what you're saying. I'm saying that made me think of that or what.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
But there's, to me, the rawness to it is what adds to the, I guess the openness and then the rawness of the performance. And to me, not having anything to cover up flaws and mistakes automatically elevates it to another level.
All right. What about prop comedians?
It's even lower. They're lower on the
Really?
food chain than
Think so?
musical comedians. Absolutely.
Okay. What about, so the first prop comedian I ever saw was Howie Mandel.
Who's not funny at all.
See, I disagree. I don't think he's great, but I disagree. But one of the first jokes I ever heard him do, which he did some stand-up without props as well, but he pulled out a hot water bottle with the tube on it, just a douchebag is what it was. And he talked about how they searched his bags at the airport, and they told him he couldn't take this on the plane. Right. And I was young, 11, 12, maybe 13 or whatever. And he pulled it out. He was like, why can you not take this on a plane? Like, what am I going to do? Take this up to the cockpit and be like, oh, shit, that's what it's for. And then and he did. And I can remember at that age being like, oh, shit, that's a clever thing. Right. I mean, but anyway.
But again, so people that I don't find funny, that's
it's
not
a niche
saying that they don't ever have funny moments.
Sure.
But, and the only thing lower than prop comedians are fucking ventriloquists.
I agree about the ventriloquism thing. I used to like Jeff Dunham, but it's the same thing over and over. Like, I just enjoyed some of what he did. First off, if you're a ventriloquist, that's fucking amazing that you can do that kind of shit. And if you can do it and be funny at the same time, more power to you.
Right.
Props to you. Pun intended. No, I'm just,
again, and I'm not trying to take away from what a lot of these people do.
You're doing stand-up comedy for two people at that point.
Right.
Anyway,
but again,
Jeff Dunham makes shitloads of money in Vegas.
I'm not.
I mean, he just shits money, man.
I'm not discrediting.
Sure, no, I know you're not.
Right, because all these people have their own niche and their own fans, and it's artistic in what they do, and it's none of it's easy.
Yeah.
Right, but I just feel like the amount of exposed personality that occurs, or just personal exposure, the more that's on the line, the more I respect it. Does that make sense?
What about Gallagher?
Fuck Gallagher, man.
So I kind of had...
And no, he can be like, I remember distinctly a joke that he did about eating pussy and waking up in your face looking like a glazed donut. Like, that shit made me laugh my ass off.
So I've heard Bill Burr say on multiple occasions that people sleep on Gallagher, that he was a phenomenal stand-up comic.
Okay.
But people only remember Smashing Watermelons.
Right.
But that was like the end of his show.
Right.
But that he did so much great stand-up comedy.
Yeah. And I don't.
Yeah, I have no clue because I only
Carrot Top.
remember the. Yeah, Carrot Top. Have you seen Carrot Top lately?
He's
Motherfucker's
fucking
buff.
jacked. Yeah,
and his hair is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. He's
one of the things
he's like
I
a
remember
more
about
manly Kathy Griffin.
Well, because of Carrot Top, I learned how to suck dental floss in my nose and pull it out of my mouth. I learned that from Carrot Top stand up when I was a kid. Yeah.
What about Pauly Shore? He's in a movie right now, a new movie.
Really, a new movie? He had his moment.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the wheeze, man.
Yeah, but again, it's kind of what happens when you pigeonhole yourself into one specific thing. Like Bobcat Goldthwait was the same thing. Goldthwait, whatever the hell you say his fucking name. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But
Bobcat Goldthwait is a better writer and director than he was a comedian.
Sure.
Anyway.
Sure.
But yeah. I mean,
who do you think? Give me your 3 most overrated comedians. Overrated comedians. And I think you'll be surprised at a couple of mine. I'll give you my 3 after you give me your 3.
Man, I don't know. That's a hard question for me to answer because I don't watch any of them, so I can't think of any of them. I think
I'll give you my first.
Go ahead.
George Carlin.
That was the one I was about to say right before you just going to say. He has some brilliant stuff.
Absolutely.
But he started getting crazy after a while.
Not even that. I feel like his bits that were good are absolutely outstanding, like top of the class, like legendary.
Sure.
But as a whole, I didn't think he was that funny.
Okay.
I shouldn't even say that funny. I don't feel like that his overall body of work was worth the praise that his brilliant pieces of work were worthy of it.
Okay.
Like the things that he did that were amazing were second to none amazing.
Yeah.
But he only had a handful of things that were amazing that he wrote the coattails of for forever and ever.
Sam Kinison.
Okay.
I think he's a bit overrated. He had some funny stuff again, but I think he's a bit overrated.
Okay.
So, who's your next one?
Andrew Dice Clay.
Okay. What about him?
I just didn't. Again, it was a product of his time.
Well, it was a character that he played.
It was a character that he played, for sure. But he rose to a lot of popularity in certain circles. But again, I think it was a product of the time.
I mean, in certain circles, he was fucking nationwide, man.
No, I get that. But I mean...
The Dice Man cometh?
The Dice Man cometh. Okay. Yes, mass appeal. But again, I think as a product of his time, yeah, top of the game. But as a whole, like his shit does not hold up like a lot of other stand-up comedians, even during that time. Like Eddie Murphy still holds up 1,000%. Like everything he did.
Yeah, he couldn't do some of those jokes now, though.
Well, no, and I'm not talking about the joke, but that doesn't detract from them being funny.
Yeah.
Andrew Dice Clay was funny then. If you watch a lot of his stuff now, it's not that funny. And he's considered one of the greats.
I don't know. It's something, it's not funny, but hearing him deliver the Little Miss Muffet joke does make me laugh.
Again, product of the time. Yeah. And I'm not saying he wasn't funny.
Well, it's the character. It's that character, which he is not that at all. But
I got you.
He puts on that a lot because that's what people want.
I'm still going to say
No, I agree with what you're saying. It's definitely, I think, overrated.
Yep.
But it's his Little Miss Muffet joke. It does make me laugh.
Okay.
It does.
What's
I don't.
Mark Lowry.
Wow, that's a blast.
Shonda Pierce.
Oh my God.
Kathy Griffith.
You know, I've never really watched much of her stand up.
It's not enjoyable.
Chelsea Handler.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never liked Chelsea Handler.
Well,
I've never thought she was funny.
Let's see here. I don't know. Tim Allen,
yeah.
But again, that was certain. So you're a certain type of person if you like that. Some of his shit was funny. Now to hear him tell the story of where he got it from, like fuck shit, that makes perfect sense.
Right.
I mean, where that came from, and hey, more power to you. Made a shitload of money on it, but yeah, it doesn't appeal to me. I guess
Jeff Foxworthy.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know that he doesn't appeal to me, but I don't consider him overrated.
I do.
His shit holds up.
I don't think so.
I think you just don't like it.
Not even hold it up. I just feel like he's overrated. I don't think he's that funny. I feel like he found his niche that he fucking beat the fuck to death.
That's the thing, is that's all you heard.
No.
That's not all he was doing.
I know that. I know he's done other stuff, but I'm saying as a whole, I don't think he's...
Mainstream media and even Christians in the South, because it was clean, beat it to death. It's like when a good song comes on and then pop radio beats the shit out of it. I've heard a lot of comedians talk about the way he was that no one ever saw as far as his stand up, and heard some of those jokes and things like that. And I don't consider him overrated. Yeah. I consider him to have been beaten to death by it, and he doesn't. Okay,
maybe he's right where he should be then.
I don't know. I don't know. I just wouldn't have considered him overrated.
Underrated comedians.
Underrated comedians?
3 underrated.
I think Bill Burr should be way more popular than he is. Yep. For sure. Bill Cosby. No. Tom Segura.
Okay.
He's got 3 or 4 Netflix specials, but he should be way more popular than he is.
Ooh! I just thought of another overrated one. Aziz Ansari.
Never have watched a bit of his stand-up because I just don't like him at all.
Right. I liked him on Parks and Rec.
Yeah, he just doesn't appeal to me at all.
Yeah, not good. All
right.
Also overrated as a stand-up comedian, Donald Glover.
Yeah, he had some funny jokes, but overall it wasn't that
good.
great. Yeah, his special weirdo wasn't that great.
No.
Comedic actor and writer and just everything
He's
else.
A brilliant fucking guy.
Yeah.
And even with his shit stand-up special that he did, he was still captivating to watch. Yeah. I mean, he was still, Donald fucking Glover. But
I just like that he said he thought that if someone like molested you as a kid, that them molesting you instead of sticking their penis in your butt, they made you stick your own in there. He said when somebody busted in the bathroom, I would immediately just tuck it back and go, oh. So he had some funny stuff like that. But yeah, as a comedian, he wasn't that great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of underrated comedians.
I don't have any underrated comedians.
Any more underrated?
No. I will. Let me ask you this: do you think any of the current comedians, Bill Burr, Jim Jeffries, any of those guys, do you think any of them will hit Chappelle status? Because to me, Chappelle.
Who else is Bill Burr? Who?
I just named a couple: Jim Jeffries, Anthony Jeselnik, whatever. Because I think personally that Dave Chappelle is the greatest comedian the fucking world has seen since like Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. Like he's the modern day, like he's the top of the game. Like there's nobody better than Chappelle right now.
To me, he's a once in a generation guy.
Right.
So I don't think any of the people that we know right now will rise to that status.
Right.
But he also is so brilliant in how he picks and chooses what he will participate in.
Right.
So I just don't know.
I feel like Louis C.K. had the most potential to be that.
I mean, he was way up there.
Yeah.
But he's another one that's just everything he does is just good. His writing, his comedy, his acting is good.
In spite of any connotations with anything else that he did, I will still say he is one of the greatest comedians of all time. Even stand up. He was like everything that I ever watched that he did is just he's brilliant. Like from his writing to his he's a brilliant dude. Period.
Pootie Tang.
Pootie Tang.
Anyway, you know, I've heard a lot of people talk about how good Steve Martin was as a comedian, but anything I've ever seen of his just didn't appeal to me.
Right. Martin Short was that way for me.
Yeah.
See, what I appreciate.
I tried to watch their stand-up special. I couldn't do it.
Really? I liked it.
I some of it was okay, but I couldn't finish it.
See, my thing with Steve Martin,
it was too. And it may just be the product of their time and when they came out.
It absolutely was, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that whole, I was just thinking the other day, what were you thinking, Steve? That kind of stuff. When if you're doing it to be ironic, fine, but I didn't feel like they were.
I got you.
But anyway.
No, but the brilliance of Steve Martin was at the time, like that whole absurd aspect of comedy was kind of out the window, and he kind of brought that back in a heavy way.
Sure.
And
ooh, I got a good underrated one.
From an artistic perspective, I didn't enjoy watching Steve Martin stand up or listen to it, but I appreciated what he did from an artistic standpoint and just throwing it out there. Like he was Kaufman-esque in that regard. And I dug Steve Martin. I feel like the Chevy Chase was way over. Chevy Chase is one of the worst fucking comedians ever.
I've never seen any of his stand-up comedy. I didn't know he ever really was.
I don't know if he did or not. I wouldn't. I just
he may have been. He may have
tried.
Everybody tried to at one point.
Like he was really, really great on the news segment on SNL, but that's really the only great thing that he ever did.
Well, he left SNL after the first season
right.
to go be a celebrity.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he's no goddamn Bill Murray.
You're right, and Bill Murray's the one that replaced him on SNL.
Right.
Anyway, underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Comedians praise him, so he's not underrated with comedians.
Uh-huh.
But I don't hear his name brought up much at all.
Mm-hmm.
And now I completely can't think of this.
I was waiting.
I was waiting
on this reveal.
Norm Macdonald.
Oh, god damn. Norm Macdonald is one of the greats of all time.
But he doesn't get, I think because of the way he is,
right?
He doesn't get that.
Yeah.
It's you're one of the few people I know that has ever said they love Norm Macdonald.
I love him so much.
But I hear tons of comedians tell stories about Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, he's hilarious. Well, a lot of people don't really appreciate what he does because you never can tell if Norm Macdonald is fucking with you or not.
That's a big thing. I mean,
he's the most
Norm Macdonald has a show on Netflix. I hate that it was not picked up for another season.
Right.
That was great. Norm Macdonald Live, his live podcast.
His live podcast was better because it was not restricted by anything.
Sure. He's just... And on top of all of that, though, he's smart.
Yeah, he's incredibly smart.
Very smart. So as he's saying these little stories or whatever that you're not sure if he's being serious or not, everything he's saying is mostly true because he's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't drive either.
Right. He never has driven.
Yeah, it's crazy. I hate that he's so good because he's Canadian.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
No, he's absolutely brilliant. Like, if you go through jokes, even his Twitter now, like, it's hard. People take it so seriously, and I'm reading, and I'm like, I don't think he's serious. Maybe he is.
Yeah.
But
he's definitely
class.
conservative, and he gets a lot of shit for that.
But I don't know. Is he really that conservative?
I think so.
Or is he just...
No, I think so.
You think so?
Maybe he's not. Maybe I'm way off.
See, I've learned over the years of loving Norm Macdonald that nothing he says I take at face value. Nothing. Nothing at all.
So,
and maybe he's being genuine on a lot of his Twitter things, but...
So one of his jokes, one of my favorite jokes, and I've heard a million people tell it and giving him credit, and I'm may butcher it, but he said he met my new neighbor,
right?
And I'm not gonna try to do a Norm Macdonald impression.
Okay, go ahead.
His cadence is and mannerisms and everything.
Right.
I'm sorry. Do you have an alien inside you?
I think so. That was weird.
noise?
I just opened my mouth and it just.
So he said, I met my new neighbor and talking. I said, what do you do? And the guy said, well, I'm a professor of, I can't even think of what it is. A professor of it's some type of, you analyze things about people and you can figure out things. Well, I said, well, so what is that? And he said, well, it'd be easier for me to show you. And the guy says, so are you married? He says, yeah. Or he says, do you have a dog? And he says, yes. He said, so then I can assume then because you have a dog that you have kids. And he says, yeah, I do. I have kids. And he says, well, then I can assume then that because you have kids that you are married. He said, yes, I can. And I can assume since you're married that you are a straight male. He says, wow, that's okay. I get that. Fine. And he says, so then I go off to my day and I run into another one of my neighbors and the guy says, hey, have you met our new neighbor? He goes, yeah, he's a professor of whatever it's called. It's whatever it is. And the guy says, what is that? And he said, it'd be easier for me to show you what he did rather than me try to explain it to you. And so he says, all right, do you have a dog? And the other neighbor goes, no, I don't have a dog. He says, then you're a faggot. And that is just the brilliance of Norm Macdonald there. Yeah. It's so great.
Well, yeah, because have you ever go through and watch some clips of him on different talk shows? Is he just hijacks and he just tells these long, it's like your stories except funny.
Sure.
Like there's these
Absolutely.
long, he'll go on and on and on. Yeah. And the punchline has nothing to do with 90%
Oh, he comes out of
of
left
the rest
field.
of the story. Yeah. It's amazing.
To watch him on old bits on Letterman where he would be on there, because Dave Letterman loves Norm Macdonald.
Right.
And he just could get Letterman to just crack up. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah.
So underrated, Norm Macdonald. Absolutely. Maybe the most underrated.
Yeah, I'll give you that as far as popularity goes, because he's,
He wasn't invited back to do the Saturday Night Live 40th anniversary thing that they did. And he was leaps and bounds better at the news than Chevy Chase was, but he did way more than just the news. Yeah. I mean, Turd Ferguson. Come on, man. Celebrity Jeopardy was so good. It's Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, is he was only, which comedian was? There's some comedian that I heard telling the story about. They were going to some city that they were performing at for like a ribbon cutting ceremony or some shit. And, they were like, well, there's no profanity. There's no this, there's no that. And Norm Macdonald immediately got up and was like, hey, what's up, you cunts? And basically got kicked, banned from performing in a city. Yeah. And they're like, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because he gave no fucks.
No.
And,
All right.
Speaking of which, and it makes me think of that because he was in a lot of Adam Sandler's earlier movies. Have you seen the new
the Halloween Adam Sandler movie? No.
It's not bad.
It looks like it may not be bad.
Okay, let me rephrase that. It's not good.
So you're saying it's decent for an Adam Sandler movie?
It reminds me a lot. Well, pretty much the whole cast from fucking Billy Madison is in the movie.
Good. Because Billy Madison was a good movie.
It's much more of a traditional, what you think of Adam Sandler, like from back in the day. So
because go ahead.
I said there were some legitimately funny Adam Sandler bits in the movie.
Yeah, no Adam Sandler movie that's an Adam Sandler movie is a great movie.
No.
None of them.
But it's akin to Billy Madison.
But he's got 3 or 4 that are the standouts of his movies.
Yeah.
and it's Billy Madison, and then Happy Gilmore,
Of course.
The Waterboy.
Yeah, I love Waterboy.
I love Waterboy as well. A lot of people don't like Waterboy. And, well, I don't think 50 First Dates was his movie now that I'm thinking about it, but that was a good movie.
He was in it.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's his or not. Now, as far as movies that he's in that aren't his movies, Spanglish is a great movie.
Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love, great movie. Fucking Uncut Gems, man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's a good
I had
movie.
a hard time watching Uncut Gems, though.
Yeah. It was
It's because
tense.
of how it's because of how the audio was mixed.
Well, that's on purpose, but
No,
I mean,
it absolutely was. But
to
the
me,
amount of
his-
static and the shit that was going on under a lot of the parts,
Sure.
it stressed me the fuck out. I had a hard time watching it.
Now, the movie somewhat stressed me as well, but it was more of his mannerisms, his actions, and the stress that he was under.
It was the static in the audio, like all the fucking shit coming out. I couldn't handle it. It was a lot. I mean, I watched it, but it was a difficult movie to get through for me.
It was good.
It was good. It was really good.
Anyway,
No,
so I
I
haven't watched Hubie Halloween. Is that what it
Something
is?
like that.
So
I'm not going to say it's a great movie, but it's much more akin to his early movies than his like grown-ups bullshit movies.
yeah. Grown Ups had some laughs, but that was it. I didn't watch any of the other ones after that. But.
I really love, and I feel like an asshole. I never can remember the guy's name, but it's he's in some of the Will Ferrell movies, but he's consistently shows up in Adam Sandler's movies. He's fuck, I never can remember his name. You haven't seen the new Adam Sandler movie, so I can't. I'm gonna look his name up real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
What has he played in another Adam Sandler movie?
Um,
What's the part he's played?
What other Adam Sandler movies has he played in? I know he's played in like several Will Ferrell movies.
Mr. Deeds was an enjoyable movie, but it's by far not the best
Right.
Adam Sandler movie. Let me think. What else is?
Tim Meadows.
Oh, yeah.
Love him.
Yeah, he's
so
good.
much.
What was the movie he was in where he was the radio guy? He talked with the
Latest Man.
latest man. Yeah.
About to get a little Cavalier.
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, but I think it was in what Grown Ups was my favorite part. He was like, "What?"
Oh God. That made me think of something. Then when you said what, it made me forget it.
You jive turkey. What'd you say to me?
Oh, excuse me, stewardess. I speak jive. Why do young people not enjoy those movies? Airplane, Blazing Saddles.
I can tell you. I have a full theory about that.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber.
I can tell you exactly why.
Why?
Because those movies, though ahead of their time when they came out, have trickled their way down into crazy cartoons like SpongeBob, Adventure Time, where that ridiculous over-the-top comedy is normal from a very young age.
Yeah.
So when they watch them when they're older, they're like, this is not as funny as the shit that I've grown up watching.
I had a similar conversation with my kids a month or so ago. They were talking about these videos, and they started showing me some of these videos that are just crazy. And I said, this is the same shit that Adam Sandler was doing in the early 90s with his comedy album.
But it's that evolved.
Sure.
And so because it's such a integral, permeated part of the culture that they're in, when they see the other shit that paved the way for that, there's no appreciation for it. It's like, well, I've seen that, but better with X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, it's like without Chappelle's Show, you don't have Key and Peele.
Right.
Or some of these other shows that have
That
come
people
along
find
since.
hilarious. Again, because I showed Eli Dumb and Dumber a few years ago, and he was like, that's not very funny. I was like, yeah, because it's essentially Adventure Time with two grown people and a bird, which I still find hilarious, but it's kind of like kids that love whatever. Like, well, Eli's the same way with music right now. He'll be like, oh, I love this band. I'm like, well, then maybe you'd like this band that came 20 years before them. He's like, yeah, no, they suck. This new band's better. I'm like, you wouldn't have.
Yeah.
There's no appreciation for where it fucking came from.
Right.
It's infuriating. It makes me so fucking mad when like my kids are like, you're like, oh, I really love this band. I'm like, okay, well, what about this? No, that fucking sucks. I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you, you stupid piece of shit? That's where all this came from.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't get it. But young people don't appreciate some of the classic stuff like that.
And I find that a lot of times they do when they get older. but not so much now. But I remember being
Sure, but there's no payoff for me with that.
right. I mean, I remember being a pretentious little fuck at 17, 18 years old and thinking that what I listened to was the only good music. There's a pocket of that, but I outgrew that fairly quick.
Like my daughter listens to her music when she takes a shower, so I always hear whatever music she's listening to. And she was listening to CCR last night when she was taking a shower. I was like, all right, I feel like I did some good because she's not listening to whatever K-pop bullshit that's out there all the time. So I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. And Eli's getting better. He started digging into some old jazz and blues and whatever.
Of course he's into jazz.
Of course. But he's also really into
that guy's good, but he's no Charlie Parker.
Right. But he's at the age now and just his mindset, and he's always been a little bit weird because of Amanda being an artist, whatever, and she never just pumped him full of like shitty kids music for the most part. I mean, when he was really little, but so he's always had this pretension with music and art. And so he really loves shit nobody else has heard of. It's like that very like, well, I listen to these guys. You never heard of them? It's like, fucking whatever, man.
It's a hipster.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like, he hated the Avett Brothers' new album because it just wasn't very good. Like, they were trying to be clever with their writing, but they really weren't. I was like, oh my God. It's such a goddamn good record because they're amazing goddamn musicians.
It's like they don't like it when things evolve, though.
Right, exactly. They don't like it when things evolve.
And they don't like going back to before it evolved to where they're at now.
Well, they don't appreciate something for what it is, too. Like, the Avett Brothers are not a fucking jazz band. Right. Like, they're not playing math rock in these obscure, shitty scales. Like, they're not, like, it's somewhat predictable, but, I mean, they're layers. There's no beauty and simplicity at a certain point. You know what I mean? It's not complicated and complicated. Exactly. Yeah. And the Avett Brothers are never, granted, they're fucking fantastic musicians. Like I've seen them live. It's a goddamn great live show. Yeah. But, they're not going to win an award for fucking, improvisation. Improvisation was jazz. Not going to happen.
Right.
They're not Miles Davis. They're not fucking Charlie Parker. They're not, Gershwin. But what they do, they're second to none. Yeah. You know what I mean? But not being able to appreciate that fucking drives me crazy.
Yeah, that you can get me worked up now.
Well, like, I hate one of my biggest fucking pet peeves. And again, we've all been there when we've been younger and you're a lot more narrow-minded and shit. But to discount everything else because it's outside of the pocket of things you don't like. It's like, God damn it. And again, I've been there. You've been there. There's a time in my life that it wasn't pop punk. Fuck you. It sucks. Yeah. And then I go back and listen to some of the shit I liked when I was 17 years old. I'm like, oh, God damn, that's bad. God damn, that's
Officer
bad.
Negative.
Yeah. And granted, it still holds a special fucking place in my heart.
It is nostalgic. There's a lot of movies that are not good movies, but I can't help but like them because of where I was in my life when I saw it. The Goonies is one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just things like that.
And I figured out, I think, what it is with the Goonies because, like, I argued with you guys at one point that the Goonies is a great fucking movie. And it's not. I will concede that. But at the age we were when we watched it, it was one of the greatest things we'd ever seen.
Absolutely.
And I will say from a storytelling perspective, it is a fan-fucking-tastic movie. From an acting, production, all that other stuff, doesn't hold up. But at the time, the story and the audience that it was made for, fucking top tier.
That's what I'm saying. It's strictly, I have found that people, however old you were when you saw it first, that's how you feel about the Goonies.
Right.
If you didn't see it till you were 30, it's dog shit.
Yeah.
But if you saw it when you were however old we were when that, I don't even know what year that came out. But I mean, even Karate Kid, it's a good movie, but it's not nearly as good as we remember it being.
Right. So, well, okay, so let me, because your kids are older, mine are younger, right? Do you find that your kids' viewpoint on movies is tainted by how well the quote-unquote special effects hold up?
It can be. They're more tainted by those movies geared toward them for the last 10 years. There's no slow burn to it.
Right.
If you watch a Tarantino movie, it's rolling slow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's why they're so long.
And the payoff is in the last fucking 30 minutes.
It is, but even each scene has its own little payoff.
Right.
But he, at the risk of sounding pretentious, he lets every scene breathe and be what it's supposed to be.
Right.
And that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And while my kids do like Tarantino movies, at least the boys like Tarantino movies, they went through this time period where any movie geared towards their age range, it's just nonstop from the go.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
so they don't have that appreciation.
Right. Well, I think they compared at one point, I can't remember, I need to find this, but they compared the editing for movies from it's like 20 years ago to like more recent. And this has been a while since I've seen this, but the time between cuts was cut like by a quarter. I'm sorry, not a quarter, like 3/4. Like, so it went from like the average of being like a 5 seconds to 10 seconds between cuts to being like 3 or 2.
Yeah.
Like it's just this constant cut of motion and speed, as opposed to having like one long scene of dialogue or whatever, because it's just that low attention span.
Yeah. I think, and I don't even remember how you worded your original question that got me to that point, but what did you ask?
Disinterest in movies based on special effects holding up.
Yeah, so a little bit of that, but it's more they don't appreciate the slow burn of something that takes a little while to.
And I get that depends on the type of movie, but it's so permeated with every type of movie nowadays, like quick cuts and movie, like, for the most part.
Like, I don't know that my kids could sit through an older Western, a newer Western, like Unforgiven.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's one thing I will credit Eli for, not for comedies, but I have gotten turned on. He loves Tarantino films now. Like, he loves, and granted, some of it might be that pretension that comes from, like, other kids don't like it. But I can remember when he was, I think 14, 15, I let him watch Donnie Darko for the first time. And that was like his first, like, type of, he'd never seen anything like it. And again,
I'm not big into Donnie Darko.
I thought it was a fantastic fucking movie. Yeah. The sequel is awful, but I feel like, though, like some elements of that he's gotten with Amanda being an artist and shit like that has really paid off in certain aspects. Like, he appreciates certain type of arts, but at the same time, it's made him super pretentious in areas that don't need pretension.
Yeah.
You know,
I think for the most part with music is where I did right by my kids as far as that goes. Because when they were younger in that age range, I was more into music than movies or comedy, like I am now. But I mean, I went to Gabe's house the other night to help him mount his TV, and he had a playlist going, and it was all like old school Newfound Glory and shit like that. Like, I say old school, it's not old school, but it is kind of. But it was all old stuff like that he's into and enjoys. Right. And so, you know, again, like I said, my daughter was listening to Creedence.
Gabe is essentially a poor Donald Glover, but less funny.
A little bit. They could be cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they are. I don't know. But I don't know. Anyway. Anyway. Yeah.
Do you remember Master P?
Make him say, come on. No Limit Soldier.
No Limit Soldier.
I told you.
I don't know where that just popped into my brain. Yeah. I don't know why.
I know why.
Why?
It's all right. No, it's
say
okay.
It, bitch.
I think you're equating people of a same group together, and it's just
no. Actually,
we could have talked about Michael Jordan.
No,
Master P would have come up.
No, in my brain, I don't know why the Master P thing popped in, but I was like, Gabe, I love Gabe, shit out of Gabe, but he is one of the most white black dudes, in the world. As far as, granted, not that he has no culture in that area, but I mean just his expressions. He's a very nerdy black dude.
Yeah, and whitewashed.
No, he's
that's
not
what he calls it.
He calls it whitewashed.
Yeah,
that's
whitewashed.
No, but like even Donald Glover, like where he comes from, but he presents himself as a very whitewashed black dude.
Okay,
and my thought was like he doesn't like maybe he did, but I was like I couldn't really picture Gabe listening to Master P, and that's where that popped out of my brain.
Yeah, he did. I'm trying to think. I think he went through a Lil Wayne phase.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, what white kid didn't go through a Lil Wayne phase?
He went through. So he came to the house.
It's kind of like listening to Kendrick Lamar. Like you can be, or Jay-Z. It's like all these guys have mass appeal outside of the black community.
Oh, what's the guy who's in Degrassi? I can't think of his name. Canadian. God bless. What is his name? I don't. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. So, like, these little pockets give you the at least the illusion of credibility in the black community. Be like, oh, I listen to Kendrick Lamar.
I don't think that gives you credibility in the black community.
No, I'm saying, but in the mind of the people that are reviewing, it's like,
sure,
he won a Pulitzer.
Oh my God!
Right? I don't know. I just find it hilarious.
So
man. I don't know
he came to the house last weekend to get some of his clothes that were still here because said we're making a Plato's Closet run or something, whatever, one of those places where they're trading all these clothes in for money or whatever for other clothes. I don't know. Right. And he started pulling stuff out. And he's like, I can't fucking believe I ever wore this. And so, when did you wear that? He's like, college. I used to wear shit like this in college. Mm-hmm. And so I said, you remember your South Pole phase? Where it was South Pole shorts, South Pole hoodies. Right. It's just everything South Pole. And just like, he just doesn't like remembering some of that stuff.
I mean, do you have elements, and maybe you don't, I do, but do you have pockets in your past that you kind of cringe when you think about, like,
yes,
thinking about, like, style-wise or?
Yes.
Mine was, I had a big hip-hop phase. Christian
Of
hip-hop,
course.
mind you, back when I was like 14,
So DC
15.
Talk?
No. DOC, T-Bone. There were fucking a few others I can't remember. But I had the basketball jerseys.
Yeah.
Do you remember my basketball jerseys?
Basketball jerseys.
Yeah.
I think in my mind I lied and said
Hardaway
you were just heavily into ska. That's what it was.
I was that for a while as well.
You were, but I'm just saying, I think that's what.
We need to find somewhere maybe.
Demon Slayer.
I wish we still had the video from our first show ever. I would show that on this podcast.
Yeah, I've posted a picture from it.
Yeah,
but
I had the video somewhere, but I don't know what the fuck ever happened to it. I mean, I obviously don't have it now, but
sure. Yeah. Anyway, I've got recordings of some of the old songs.
Yeah. Do you still have the vinyl? No, that was mine. That was my solo shit I did with Joe. I can't find that anywhere. Maybe. Oh, I do have it. I have my old iPod in my car still. I need to find a charger for that bitch.
I have
It's got all of our old shit on it.
I have Chances. I had the stuff we recorded with Schmidt.
Yeah. We need to have him back on at some point, by the way.
Yeah.
We need to see if Andy Harris will come back on, too.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what we should do? Is get on Zoom and get a round robin with all of our fucking previous guests on one fucking episode.
I mean, if you can put that together, fine. But I don't know that we'll be able to pull that off.
No, but actually, it would probably be a really boring fucking episode. But
you're going to get, what's her name? Well, she was never a guest on ours. We were a guest on hers.
Oh, we need to get her.
Can't think of her name. She doesn't podcast anymore.
Doesn't matter. We need to get her back on here.
I don't know that she would want to come on a show at this point in her career that's explicted. So, I mean.
Well, but I mean, we could help promote her fucking, second or third book?
I don't know. She's been doing health stuff lately, I think. So,
I mean, I wonder how long it takes to write a book that's,
10 pages.
I slaved over this book.
Epileptic Mom. That was her name.
Yeah, you forgot.
I forgot. I couldn't remember the name. Epileptic Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, okay.
If you joined us.
For all intensive purpose.
Yeah. If you started listening to our podcast, let's just say episode 15.
Right.
Or more recent. Go find that podcast, the Epileptic Mom podcast, where we are guests on it. Because to me, it's gold. It's us at our finest. To me, it is us at our finest.
Right.
And which that show was edited by me for her because
it was such a brain
bag
wreck
of dicks.
Show. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
I wonder if they're still together.
They're not.
Oh, really?
Surprise, surprise.
The love of her life?
No, she's actually been with another guy and not with him now as well. So,
wow.
So yeah,
was he also the love of her life?
I think so.
Oh wow. Was he also like 15?
No, I don't think so. I don't know for sure, but I don't think so.
Because this kid was like, because she's closer to our age.
She reminds me of, that's of an ugly personality wise. She reminds me of an ugly version of a friend of ours' ex-wife. But
mine?
A friend of ours, his ex-wife, she reminds me, her personality and childishness.
Yeah, I got you.
reminds me of a friend of ours' ex-wife.
Okay.
She's an uglier version of that, although to compare them now, maybe she's not an uglier version of it.
Right.
From back in the day.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. Which I wanted to mention, if somebody's made it this fucking far in the podcast, we still have the page on our website called Tell Us What You Really Think.
Yeah.
If you go to b3fpodcast.com, it's at the top. Somebody said we need to make it easier to find. I don't know how you can make it easier to find than a goddamn tab on the very top of the page.
Tell us what you think.
It's completely fucking anonymous. Like, we don't capture any information, and you can put in, you can give you a rating, they can give me a rating, they can give the podcast a rating.
Yes.
And completely blunt, honest feedback. And we want to know.
Yeah. And
good, bad, ugly. We prefer the bad.
If you don't know, you click on the stars 0 through 5, 1 through 5 or whatever, and type in your comment.
Yeah.
It's not either or but so.
Yeah, it's whatever you want.
Yeah.
And we haven't had one in a while. We've had a couple pop up, and we've had a couple people that put their names in there for some fucking unknown reason.
To reiterate, it is anonymous.
Yeah.
Unless you put your name in.
And I think people don't believe it that it's anonymous.
I swear. And I think I enjoy that more.
I do. That's why we did it, because we're hoping that people would be a little more fucking ballsy and just put some awful shit in there. But we've only had a couple.
Yeah. Well,
only one has caused a point of contention between us.
I don't think it's a point of contention.
It's not.
I think it caught us both off guard at first.
Yeah. That's the
that
only
one though. I'd like to know who that was.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's the only one that I would want to know. That thinks you're fucking cuter than me. Fuck you.
They think you're funnier than me.
Well, that's a given.
You would be nothing without me.
And vice versa. That's why we need each other. We're like these two fucking leeches that suck on each other's fucking assholes. It's just this circular. Yeah.
Yeah. I make you funny and you make me cute.
Oh, you fucking
Jesus.
cock. That seems like a really good place to go out on.
Yeah.
Unless you got something else.
No, but I was going to say, because no one clearly is watching this, or it's definitely not commenting, but they're not watching.
Well, this is also a very last-minute decision of ours.
It was, but I'm just saying, if there is a better time of day for us to broadcast live, I'm not saying we're going to do it. I'm just saying, let us know. If it's a general consensus that earlier in the day is better, then we'll definitely consider
But in all fairness, too, usually this would be happening right at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Right,
but because of us dicking around and working
we
shit
did
out,
decide last minute to set this up and do it.
But now we have it, and it'll be easier to throw up in the future.
And if you've been listening to us since episode 1, if anything, we've gotten better at what we do. Like
always.
So it'll get better. I mean, it won't shake nearly as much.
Right.
And it won't have this crazy person standing over the top of us angle.
Oh yeah.
So,
and there won't be as much fucking yellow that's going on.
This is orange.
In the screen, they both look orangish. Like we're very similar.
I don't know why
you
said yellow.
Because this is, I guess this is a mustard is the color of the shirt.
All right, that's fine. But that's all I was gonna say. It's like, let us know. Let us know.
Yeah,
what
please,
you think.
please let us know.
And we're getting there. Eventually, we'll have multiple cameras.
Yeah, we'll get one of your fucking asshole kids to commit to doing this shit.
Or find fucking cameras that work like they're supposed to as well.
Hey, that's not on me.
No, you're right. It's not on you. It's on the descriptions of the cameras.
This is all me. Well, I made this happen tonight.
Sure.
And I make this happen.
Yeah.
Week by week.
Yeah. Now that's a good point to go out.
All right.
We'll let you go out with the praise.
Yay.
Till next time.
Yep.
Give us a thumbs up on Facebook at B3F Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at B3F Podcast and on Instagram at B3F_podcast. Send us your questions or comments to bfff.podcast@gmail.com. Rate us and review us wherever you listen to the show. And as always, thanks for listening.